Hello all, welcome. In this video, we will discuss about loading CSV file into Snowflake in internal stages. We will see different ways to load file to internal stages. We will see examples for each stage. As you already aware, in Snowflake, particularly in internal stages, we have three different types of stages such as a table stage, user stage, and named stage. We will see the examples for each and every stage, how to load the file into each stage, and also we'll see the different ways to do that. And once the data is available in this internal stages, we'll also see how to copy the data from internal stages to the table. Once that is done, we will build a framework to copy the data from a given stage. Either it could be table stage or user stage or named stage to a given table, and dynamically. In migration projects, we will migrate the data from legacy systems into the Snowflake. There are many methods to achieve this, but one of the familiar method is extracting the table data into the file and moving the file to the Snowflake. So let's see the in detail how this happens. So in legacy systems, either it could be Oracle or the Hive or SQL Server database. Each table will be exported as a file, and if the file is big, and that file will be splitted into multiple parts, and those files will be staged into either external site by using one of the cloud providers, or within the Snowflake by using the available stages such as table stage, user stage, and named stage. Once the data is staged, the data is already available in the Snowflake, and it is easy to copy to the table by using the copy into. To move the files from the local system to the stage area, we'll use the put command, and from stage to table, we'll use the copy into command. Okay, so we are going to see the detailed examples to take a big file and splitting the file into multiple files and loading that file. After finishing this session, we will be familiar with the following points. One is splitting the large file into small files, different ways to load files into internal stages, copying data from internal stage to the table by normal way and by framework process, and how to write the framework. In this file, I have employee information. This this file is having around 11,000 records in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this file into multiple files, and I'm going to split 100 records into one separate file. Since we have 11,000 records in this table, so we are going to create 110 files, and with each file consists of 100 records. That's the first step that we are going to do. So I'm using the Mac for this. I connected to the terminal, and here is the file that I have the data 11,000 records, and I'm going to split that file, and uh, the files that will be created will be loaded into the data files. As you can see, as of now there are no files under this data files directory. We are going to create the files now, and there is a utility called split in Mac. uh, that utility will help us to separate the files. Here is the syntax for it. So After splitting the files, we'll load into the data file. So if you observe the syntax, you can see like minus L is number of lines, and I have given 100 there. So every 100 lines uh, will be separated to the another file. Okay, so we have 110 files here. So let's open one of the file and see how the data looks like. So you can see that you have 100 records here, right? So we have given only the prefix in the split command, and it has taken the sequence for each file. In general, in the real time, these things can be done either using the Python script or Unix script to split the files. Basically, Snowflake like small files instead of big ones. Uh, there are two reasons why. One reason is if it is a very big file and there are some data quality issues, and it will throw errors after processing all the big file at the suppose the issue come at the last few records. So in that scenario, we will use a lot of resource. Instead of that, if it is a small file, then all good files will be loaded. Only the bad files, one or two files, will throw an error. That it's since it is a small file, the amount of resource that we have used is very less. That is a one reason. And another reason is if we have multiple files, we can process them or stage them in parallel. So that is another reason that we will go for the small files. Our files are already available. Let's create a table to load these files. Ultimately, we are going to load into the tables. So here are the two tables. One is at the stage level, another one is at the main level, which consists all the columns that will match with the file. This is the way how we'll call the table stage. I'm just seeing if any files are available. It won't be because we just created the table, so nothing will be staged already under the table stage. So no files are staged right into the table stage. So we are going to do that. So in order to do that, what we need to do is we need to use the put command. So put command will not work in the UI. For that, we need to connect to the Snowflake SQL. Okay, I have connected to the SQL. Stage one file first into the table stage. Okay, so employees underscore AA, which consists 100 records. So I'm going to stage this file into mm, table stage. For that, put this is a file path where this employee underscore AA is available, and we are moving it to here. So let's execute this. Ends with semicolon. So you can see that this is a source, and this compressed and loaded into the Snowflake original size, and then after compression, and what is the type of compression. Since I didn't give anything, it auto compress it to zip and uploaded into the Snowflake. So now it is available in the Snowflake. So let's query and see now. You can see that the data can be queried. Okay, so basically the question will come in the stage. If you see the file that we have used, this is the file that we have used. If you see this file, we don't have any header, but However, when we are querying, you are seeing the header is coming. Even if I won't give this one, just querying it, you can see that headers are coming. That happens to the table stage because always the table stage will use the definition of the table associated to it to display the records. That's why by default the header will be displayed even if we are querying from the stage. Now let's try to stage the same file again to the same table stage and see what happens. So this file is already staged as you are seeing here into the table stage. I'm trying to do the same thing again and let's see what will happen. If you see, it is saying status has skipped. So what that means is this file is already available in the table stage. If you want to forcefully do that, um, then you can go for the option as override as true. So now you can see that file has been uploaded. So there are many ways that we can copy this data to the table. So first way of doing it is copy into the table name, and we'll just give the file format. So the staged file, what is the format of that file? And also if you observe, we are not giving the stage information here. Default, it will go to the table stage. And what here we are doing, validating the file, and if everything is fine, then we are returning 5 rows. So when the validation is happening, it actually will not load the data to the table, but it will just validate it and make sure everything is fine. If it is fine, then it will display the 5 records. And here we are giving the pattern. This is again optional because whatever the files are there, and we have only one file as of now, and whatever the files are there will be loaded to the table. So first let's execute this and see. Okay, so it is giving for us 5 rows, so that means everything is fine. Let's try to load it by using the same thing. Copy into employee detail, format has been given. On error, we are skipping the file. Anyhow, it will not error out because we are already validated. But it's a common practice of keeping if on error, then just skip the file. Okay. So then let's execute this one and see. You can see this file is loaded, 100 records passed and 100 loaded. Okay. So this is how you can load the file into the table. And now if you come back and check the count of the records in the table, you can see that 100 records are there available. You can query it and see as well. Let's query in the table and check. So we have the data available, 100 records available. This is one way of doing. And another way is first we will create the format instead of directly giving like this. Just create the format object, create a replace file, format, CSV format, and you are giving all the properties of it. Field delimiter, optional enclosed. Execute this one. And now use this file format name within the copy into command. Copy into command uh, goes like this. Copy into table. I qualified the everything here from EMP detail stage. Format has been given here, And again, here also we are validating first, and then, okay. So here, when we are validating, what I'm giving is return all errors. If there is any error, then only it will return. So here I have asked return 5 rows from the staged file. That's why we got the 5 rows here. All errors. So there is no errors. Nothing is coming here. So that means it's good to go. And let's try to um, load that file by removing the validation and going with the without removing the validation. We'll try to load it. Okay. So when we are doing this one, it is saying 0 files processed. The reason why it is not processing, though the file is already there under the stage, file is already there, but still it is not loading because it's already one time it loaded from this command. And now again, we are trying to do the same thing. So once the file is loaded, that information is available in metadata. If you are trying to load the same file again, it will not be it is not possible. So for that you can do you can force. Let's try to do that. Okay, so now we could able to load that information. So now uh, same data loaded again. So now if we query and see the number of records into this table, you will have 200 rows now. If you sort every record 2 times will be that, because same file we are loading, we loaded 2 times. One by after loading the data, still the file is available in the stage. So, instead of that, we can purge that file. For that, what you can do is you can add the purge also here. Now file is loaded. If you go and check in the table, you have 300 rows. Each record 3 times will be there, right? And when you go to the stage and check here, you don't have the file which was staged earlier. So now that file has been purged. So okay, so like that we can do in the different ways. So I have mentioned the other ways of doing this as well, right? Okay, you can qualify the file name and then load it as well. So important things that you need to remember here is that once file is loaded, you cannot load that again until unless you force it. If you want to purge the file from the stage, you can go with that one. And format is the basic way of creation of the file format object is like this. You can add many other options as well. There are a lot more options. You can go with it. Either you can do that and use that as part of the copy into command, or you can directly mention this. So remember that we can do the formatting of these things even while creation of the stage itself. But you remember we are dealing with the table stage, which is by default will be created. We don't have any control on creation of the table stage. As soon as you create a table, then table stage will available by default implicitly, and that's the reason we cannot create the formats all the time. What you need to do is you need to create outside and use that while doing the copy into. Okay, table stage always tightly coupled with the table. So when you stage any file into the table stage, you can load that file only to the that table. Okay, you cannot do cross loading. So what that means is I staged a file under this table stage, but if I wanted to load into another table from this table stage, that is not possible. So that's another point that needs to be remembered. Okay. So since we know how to do one file and we checked everything, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to load all the files together. So for that, first let's delete the data from this table completely. because we have duplicate records as well in it. So I'm gonna delete everything. Okay, so 110 rows produced. You can see that each file, how it has been uploaded into the stage, what is the name in the stage side. So we have 110 files has been staged here. When you do the list, you can do all this 110 files information. Okay, so now let's do the copy into command for that. So let's validate first and make sure everything is fine. Okay, return all errors. If any error, then it will return. So it didn't return anything. Let's introduce one error and see what will happen. So in these files, open AT file, and then let me put some additional columns here. Okay, and save this one. Take the file name, and then now again put it into the stage, only that file. I'm overwriting the old one, proper one, and replacing with the bad record. So now uploaded again. So now let's come and try to validate it. You can see that here 80, number of columns are 15, does not match of the corresponding level. Okay, so that means now this file is having an issue, so you can see that information. Okay, it is given the record also, which is throwing an error. So here is a problem, we added something here, right? So no, that's okay. So still we can skip that file on error, skip the file and proceed with the rest of the things. So let's go with that. Okay, I'm putting that here. So after loading, we are purging, and then any error comes, we are skipping and proceeding further. Okay. You can see that all has been loaded. And one file got errored out. I'm sorry. Yeah, here. And all the rest has been loaded. So now let's try to query and see how many records are there here. You can see that 10,900 records are there. 100 records got errored out because we skipped that um, file, right? We skipped that file, so rest has been copied. So all this information is available in the history as well, right? So it should be last 5 minutes. Let's see. Load history, I'm checking. What are the copy commands and loaded the data, right? So schema is staging. What is the file name? If you see that, since it is a stable stage, all are prefixed with the table here. And then last modified, loaded, whatever is loaded, and then it is showing the details here. So this is how we can do that, right? So now the data is already available in the stage. You can move from the stage table. I mean, stage means in the stage table to the main table uh, by using the stored procedure or doing the transformations from here to here, because the data types here we are going all with the strings. Here we have the proper data types to casting the data. Transformation logic all can be implemented and loaded from here to here. So we can use our framework based stored procedure to move the data from staging table to the main table, where you can pass the source uh, table name and the target table name and execute this procedure, which will do the transformation from staging to the main table, since the data types are different between this. So in other video I have explained how to do that. You can refer that to build the framework based Snowflake scripting stored procedure to move the data. So as of now, we have seen how to uh, take a big file, split the file into multiple small files, and use the put command to stage it into the table stage, and from there copy it into the uh, table stage table. The same exercise can be done with the other stages such as user stage or the named stage. We will look into that in the next video. Thank you so much.